Welcome once again to Can TV 21. Let's talk etiquette. I enjoy saying that, and I've said it 1,000 times probably, but somehow I still get a real thrill out of saying the title of this show. This is a show devoted to you, and to us, and to our society, and especially to our children. It's unbelievable where we have come over the last 50 years. But this is a subject that is profound, truly, truly profound. And I say that because it represents everything we do, think, and feel. It does. Etiquette impacts our entire consciousness. And it has a great deal to do with what we think, how we feel, what we do, and how we do it. And so the subject for today is going to be profound as well. But before I start on the subject for today, I want to just show you one more of our many, over 2,000 books in our library. You need to have at least one. We have more than 2,500 books on this grand subject. And so much has been said about it over the last 200 years. Really has been refined and articulated from so many great mavens of our past. But first, give me a call, 312-738-1060. Call. I'd like to have a question or two from you today. But first, I want to give you the title and the subject, and then I just want to talk about this one great book that I brought today with me. So what is our title for today? It's this subject here. The essence of etiquette. The essence of etiquette. And if you can appreciate the English language, if you can appreciate the words that have been created over the eons that we call English, keep in mind that over 10% of the language relates, of the words of the language relates to etiquette in some form or fashion. And the reason that's so vital in creating a language is because first we human beings had to devise a way to communicate with one another. And so this is where language came into play. And in the process of devising a way to communicate with one another, we had to figure out something very important. And that's how to live together in peace and in harmony. So that meant we had to create words to describe our feelings, our values, our motivation. So this is how these words were created in the beginning. A way for us to communicate with one another and do it with one primary objective, and that's to survive. To survive, to eat, to have a shelter, to coexist together as one humanity. Huh? So that meant you had to create words to be able to communicate how you feel, what you think. And so there's where etiquette came into being. Because for us to live together in peace, that's most important, and in harmony, and work together as a group to be able to compete in the world as a wild, untamed place. So that meant we had to create words to express that this is our objective. We want to live together and work together and communicate together and build the world that you see today. It had to be organized. And it had to be based on some fundamentals that I can trust you, that we can devise a future for us as a collective. And so this is why etiquette was so crucial in this evolutionary stage of humanity. It would not have happened if we didn't devise the words to communicate what it is to be humble, what it is to be at peace, what it is to cooperate, what it is to be respectful to one another, and to work together to feed each other, to be able to clothe ourselves, to be able to have shelter, and all the things that's required for us to survive. So etiquette is at the essence of that. And this is why I picked this title, The Essence of Etiquette. Now, we would not be here today had we not come up with the right words, with the right meaning, with the right values to be able to express that peace and harmony and tranquility and all those things that it is required for us to get along together. That's so important. I have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wright. This is Ray.
Hey, Ray, how are you, sir?
Oh, fine. You know,
yes.
Just saying essence lights me up. That's such a beautiful word.
Thank you.
It's like a beautiful woman that you have respect for, you know.
Yes.
So you have to have respect for etiquette because the essence is also like a beautiful woman. You have to respect it.
Yes, so well stated.
But the thing is, without essence, you're not going to go very far. You may think you're going to go far, but it's like, you know, in the old, when my grandmother, and like you said, they had the china cabinet.
Right.
There was the good china, there was the everyday china,
yes,
and then there was china that you passed on every decade to your kid.
Yes, yes.
That was never used. The
yes.
good china was used Thanksgiving, Christmas,
right,
and of course, then you have your regular china.
Right.
But plate. But the thing is, what a beautiful word. And I'm so happy that you said it today. It lit me up. I had to talk to it, because it means so much more.
It could be so much more. You're so right, Ray.
It means everything that's beautiful in this world.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the great.
I just want to say,
yes,
I'm just so happy to see you on TV.
Thank you.
Every week.
Absolutely. Appreciate you calling. I want to continue to look forward to having these great conversations. Yes.
For me, and it should be heartfelt for them.
Yes.
To have someone like you on TV letting us know the essence of life.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate
it. Okay.
Yes.
I'll call you next week.
Thanks. Yeah, Ray's a great caller. He has such profound ideas and thoughts on this subject, and I appreciate his input in what we're trying to articulate to the world. And yes, the word, you're right, Ray, the word essence is a word that was created like all the other many words that we have given a definition to in the English language. And so it's such a beautiful language. I don't understand why we want to bastardize it when it has such articulation to it and variations and ways to say things that's so imaginative that you can do with this language. And so I really encourage everyone to respect this language, use it correctly, speak it correctly, do the best. Look for ways to add 1 or 2 words to your vocabulary every day. And you would be surprised how that will enlighten you and to understand it at a higher level. It's in those words that you add to your vocabulary that gives you a better understanding of the world we live in. But let me give you the definition to this grand word we call etiquette. And this is right out of the dictionary, so it's nothing that I made up. And that says, etiquette is a code of conduct that rules how everyone is expected to behave in society. Conduct, rules of behavior. Now, why aren't we teaching this to our children? They need to understand those rules of conduct so they will know how to behave as a human being, as a civilized person. Why are we not teaching that to them? We teaching them math. Why are we teaching them the foundation of this society and the foundation of the Western world? Why are we not teaching that to them? I have another caller. Caller, you on the air.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. And I wanted to make the point that I couldn't agree more with you in terms of the need to emphasize this sort of protocol when it comes to existing in a social society. Unfortunately, all too many young people, they may come out of high school having graduated this month, but so many of them don't understand the basics. If you're going to go out and look for a fast food job this summer, it still means that you should show up at the job interview with a shirt and tie on. You should know that
Right.
when you are when you meet the person who's your prospective employer, that you need to look them in the eye. You need to shake their hand. There are
Right.
things that you don't wear. Things that you might wear out on a Friday or Saturday night when you're out with your friends are not what you wear to a job interview.
So
And the way
true.
that you conduct yourself and the language that you use, and everything has to be much more formal. And these are the things that study after study shows that are the cues that people pick up when they meet you. And those are the things that are cemented in their minds going forward. So if you make that good first impression, you stand a good chance of getting the job, getting the interview to move forward, getting ahead no matter what you're doing. If you make a bad impression, the same thing applies.
You're right.
And again,
Absolutely.
you make a great point in that we're not doing enough to teach young people just the basics. I mean, I wish that somebody before the young people graduated from Chicago public high schools would sit down with them and say, you know what, you're going to take a 3-4 hour class. We're going to teach you just how your basics of dress, how to introduce yourself,
Right.
how to go to a job interview. I mean, just these basic things, because unfortunately, the math that you took and the English that you took, that doesn't prepare you for the job interview.
No.
And it doesn't teach you about what not to do as well as
Right.
what to do.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the call. So very well stated by the caller. We teach those skills because we know that that's the difference in a $7 to $8 hour job and a $20 an hour job. Now, what do you want? You want the $7 or you want the $20? Now, it's up to you. You can prepare yourself for the $20. You can prepare yourself for the $7 or $8 job. So you're absolutely right, and it has an economic impact on society. The more people who are less qualified, that means the whole family is going to be impacted by that income or lack of income. So it's critical, and it should be taught as a freshman. Every year you have to practice these things, and that's what's missing. I would think it's just as important as practice going to playing basketball, baseball, any of them other skills you need to practice. It has to be natural. You have to have those reflexes that's just inbred in you. And the only way you're going to really get that down to a really high level of professionalism is to practice over and over again, like bouncing the ball all between your legs, around your back. You're only going to learn to do that through practice. So I tell my students that this is absolutely essential. And if you put the time, invest the time into doing that, you will be much more successful in first getting a job, because getting a job is the start of your income, okay? And until you're able to do that, then you're going to be unemployed and, obviously continue to be in poverty. So I agree with that caller. Thanks so much for that bit of information. That need to be said 1,000 times over for our young people could get that in their head. Stop bastardizing the language. Speak the language as clearly and as correctly as you possibly can. And so if you do those things correctly and learn to do them well, you will be successful far more than if you had not took the time to do that. But back to this subject here, the essence of etiquette. Okay, so now I read that definition over to you, but I want to just bring one more book into the picture from our library. Now this book here, I'll just lay it there, maybe We'll see what we can see on the projector here. Okay. Looking at that picture. Now, let me say this about the book. It was published in 1896. And if you can see the illustration, it says social etiquette or manners and customs of polite society. That's right there at the bottom there. Manners and custom of polite society. Because this book is over 100 years, it has been fairly well taken care of considering its age. Okay, but I want to just look at a few things in here in its cover here. Okay, I suppose you can read that. Social etiquette or manners and customs of polite society. Now, when they say polite society, that's, of course, they're talking about etiquette. You want to be polite, and it has nothing to do with your income to be polite. You can be polite as impoverished. You can be polite at any level if you have the propensity and the understanding of the value of being polite. Being polite opens doors for you. Being rude closes doors for you. Being respectful opens doors for you. Being disrespectful closes doors for you. And I'm talking about social and economic doors. You're going to need to be able to feed yourself at some point and support yourself at some point without relying on your family, your parents, or the government. So your goal when you start high school, your goal is to get to a point where you can be self-sustaining, meaning you're going to be able to take care of you. So being polite is a part of this society. It's the foundation of how everything has been created. By being polite, being courteous, being considerate of others. And once you're able to do that well, you will be surprised how you will be brought in, you will be pulled in, you will be invited in to be with those of the same mindset. Because that's how you build corporations. You have to have that element in there in order for your team, your organization to be productive and to get along with one another. So being polite is a part of that, a key part. Okay? So that's one of the things that we unfortunately have forgotten or never was taught. Okay, let me see what else he's saying in here. Okay. It says, containing rules of etiquette for all occasions. Not some occasions, but all occasions. Occasions that you have to think about. Occasions that you want to be a part of. Whatever those occasions are, involves etiquette in some point or fashion. So, all occasions, that's what it says, not some occasions, including calls, invitations, parties, weddings, receptions, dinners, and teas, etiquette of the street, public places, etc., etc. Okay, in 1896, and the language in here is just as concise and as clear as you would say it could have been written today. The language in here, what they're saying in here, these events are still prevalent today because they are part of our customs and our culture. That's an important element. You need to understand what customs we have and why they are important. It's just not Thanksgiving or Christmas, although they are customs, and Easter and all of those kind of birthdays and customs. So, but it's a part of our reality. And so etiquette works its way in its magical way in every element. So if I think about a sentence, I take etiquette in consideration, what I'm going to say to you, how I'm going to say it to you. Etiquette's playing a part in my mind to make sure I'm not offensive, I'm cordial, polite, considerate, so that sentence of those words called the English words have a part to play in my head when it comes to etiquette. See? So it's not just sitting at the table and dining. That's what most people think. Oh, it's about dining etiquette, table manners, and all of that. It's far greater, far more important, far more in-depth. You don't even have to think about the word etiquette, but your mind is creating ideas that ties in etiquette in your presentation. See? And so just become conscious of how this word is a central, key part of our reality. And if you can do that, then you will understand why books like this are written. Okay? Let's see what else you're supposed to consider. Okay? It says it's a complete guide to self-culture. And this is 1896 thinking. What's self-culture? Okay? It's a complete guide. Self meaning what we have created. And millions of people came before us who have contributed to what we have and what we have given up. Apparently, we think now it's not necessary. None of this stuff is important anymore. We don't teach it anymore in the schools. It's not taught in the homes anymore. So who are we? Just anything and anybody? We don't have no sense of our place on the planet and what we have contributed to the growth of humanity. I mean, that don't mean nothing anymore. We just into our cell phones, tweeting and texting. Is that all it's about today? Huh? It's a far more, it's much more than just that. But we have been led away from it, unfortunately. It's like, how have we been fooled? And we don't know who we are. Whatever they said we are. Well, I'm going to mimic, oh, I see this, I'm going to mimic that. Oh, that's what's popular, I'm going to follow that representation. Let me get back to this so we can take another look at this here. It says, the art of dressing. I mean, putting clothes on, right? The art of dressing. You have clothes in your wardrobe, or you should have a wardrobe if you don't know where that is. Clothes in your wardrobe for all occasions. And it doesn't mean anything really about how much money you have. You can buy a fine suit at the thrift store for $7, $8, $10. And won't no one know the difference. You can buy a tie for $2. A shirt for $3 or $4. So you can be poor and look a great deal better by having a wardrobe that will allow you to, whatever that occasion is, have the proper clothing for that occasion. And you only have to go 50, 60 years back in time, which is like that in time, and you would see photos of men at the baseball game wearing suits. Go back and look at some of the Jackie Robinson's pictures at the game. Women wearing dresses and looking just fabulous. Huh? Those are your great-grandparents. They had style. They had sophistication. That's something you don't forget what that means in terms of our women. They didn't go to the grocery store and flip-flops and, and all these exotic skin-tight underwear that they're wearing for outerwear. You know what I mean? Okay, they were dignified when they went to the store to shop. Some wore hats. Okay? Okay? And wore heels. Yes, they did. Okay, talking about old school. That's the real school. Yes, we have a caller. Caller, you on the air.
Yes, I would like to make a comment in reference to etiquette
Yes, ma'am.
and manners. Manners have to be taught and practiced early into and throughout a young person's development by exposing them to an environment that embraces these manners, behaviors. So young people need to be exposed to, places that they can go that require certain conduct and manners and etiquette. And that doesn't happen a lot sometimes in our communities. It's not as observed as important. Manners and things like that a lot of times are not observed as being important. The people that should be teaching, they have not been taught or have not learned or practiced by passing down these important, the importance of being kosher.
I agree, ma'am. I agree totally with you.
I've even witnessed senior citizen individuals who will drop their litter onto the ground rather than trash it appropriately. So
Yes.
things that we witness and so we there's no accountability as to how to properly conduct yourself.
So true, ma'am. You're hitting the nail absolutely on the head. But there is a solution. If we as a community decide to make that important, let's rediscover how to behave, how to have good conduct, good manners. It just benefits everyone. Everyone benefits when you have a society. And you're right. We have to start that lesson almost in infancy. But the first 4 or 5 years of education that they get in the home, hopefully, or at the daycare, or wherever, they need to make that the primary focus of that education of that young child. And you're so right, by the time they're 8 or 9, it's almost too late. But there are those who still want to learn and to be saved. But we have to start. We can't continue the way we're continuing. It's just we'll continue to get worse and worse. And we return into barbarism. Barbarism. We're just no self-respect, no system that we can all agree to how to behave. So we have to start with the schools and with the families. Okay? Well, unfortunately, let's see if it's in. Let me see if I can throw this in real quick. I'm going to wrap it up, but let me get this extra little in here. Okay, it says dressing well, conversations, courtship, etiquette for children, letter writing, artistic home, and interior decoration. Maud C. Cook was the author of this book. So, it's a great book. There's so many of them out there that's so wonderful in letting us know that this generation, the 19th century generation, felt very strongly about behavior and all of the things that went into building a great nation. And unfortunately, in the last 50 or 60 years, you don't see it like it should be. It's not taught. But anyway, reach us at 312-473-2942. You can email us at info@efoi.org. Okay? So I'm going to conclude with that. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate those calls. We have one more show to go, so please catch the last show, and I'm sure you will find it just as interesting as this show. And my name is Nathan Wright, and I'm the Executive Director of the Etiquette Foundation of Illinois, and thank you for your support. Good night.